What's the haps? I'm Meroka, and today I'm going to be taking a quick look at Infested Planet by Rocket Bear Games. This is an RTS, and it's been out a little while at this point. It came out March 6th, and they've just released an expansion for it, which adds a bunch of new weapons, new toys, new tricks to it. I'm going to be looking at that version of the game, although I didn't play the game before they released the expansion, so it's a little tricky for me to make a real comparison to actually say how much the expansion adds to the game. Because, well, I didn't play it without the expansion, so I'll take a look at it as a whole, but I can't make a real comparison as to whether the expansion adds a lot to the game, whether it was needed, whether it was crucial, that kind of thing. Anyway, before we get into it, we'll have a look at the options menu. We've got resolution options over here. You can toggle full screen and VSync there. Under graphics, we've got 4 levels of detail, low, medium, high, maximum, and then you've got a couple of sliders for performance. You've got particle effects and splatter detail, which you might want to turn down if you're having a few issues with your frame rate. There are lots of aliens, and they will be going splat. There will be splats everywhere. You can also toggle shadows and shaders, and there's a compatibility mode, which is obviously going to be something you'll want if you're running an older machine, I imagine. Audio, we've got music and sound effects on separate sliders, so that's good. We've got... This is interesting, CPU core usage. There's a lot of aliens and they do swarm, so I guess this is used for, as it says, for swarming AI, so you can choose how many cores it uses, which is kind of cool. There's not many games actually seem to make particularly good usage of multi-core CPUs terribly well, so that's very cool that that's there. Admittedly, I haven't run any benchmarking, so I can't see how well it uses them, but the fact that that's even an option is pretty cool. So then you got a few other sort of a personal preference options. So this is one I like. Trap mouse. When you're actually running a mission, the mouse won't leave the window. So many games don't do that, and that's really good that that's there. I like that. So there you go. Those are your options. You got a bit of key rebinding as well. So always good to see. Let's head on out. Let's head on into the campaign. We've got a couple of things here. We've got Skirmish over there, is just kind of you can play custom maps and design new maps, and there's a lot of replayability by going into Skirmish. Campaign's obviously going to be the meat of it, and we've got a weekly challenge thing there, so I guess each week the devs will be putting out some new custom things to test your skills against. We're going to have a look at the campaign, though. So we've got this kind of branching thing. We start kind of up here, opening gambits. You'll earn a bit of money for each of them. We'll work along here. And then when you got, how many? 7. Once you got about 6, 7 missions in, the story branches out. So you've got, the blue lines are effectively the main story missions. And then you've got these yellow ones, which are randomly generated kind of things. They seem to be based on, they'll give it a number of parameters. They'll say, oh, there's going to be these enemies, these kind of buildings, these locations, and it's going to be this kind of style of map, but what you'll actually get in each map is going to be different each time, so you can go back and replay it, and you'll get a different experience each time. So you got those. These yellow ones, the random missions, do seem to pay out a lot better than the story missions. If you're looking for upgrades and things, I found going through the yellow missions seems to pay out really, really well. And the rate, you kind of got a few different ones. You got the story missions are going to be, you're going to have a little bit of variety depending on what the story requires you to do. These are pretty much just straightforward, go kill all the aliens missions. And we've got the raids, kind of almost a time-limited one where you just got to try and kill as much stuff as you can before the timer runs out. And it pays rather handsomely because it's based on how many kills you get. So the money that you'll earn from that, we'll have a look at the shop. You've got a sort of an upgrade menu here. I keep unlocking more stuff. I think all stuff unlocks as you go through the campaign. So there are a lot of toys, and they're all quite interesting things. We've got teleport jumps, move marines around the map. Mortars can be offensive as well as defensive. Add shields to your structures. You can have a minigunner. You can get an airdrop to call in a little bit of bonus backup. Robotics makes bunkers stronger, so bunkers are kind of an early upgrade you get, which is basically an upgraded base, so apparently you can research making them even stronger. And then you've got most of the same things with a little arrow above them, so there's kind of 2 different tiers of upgrades that they sell for you as upgrades in this game. You've kind of got, I'm looking for a good one that I can compare. Miniguns, I suppose, is something we've got 2 of on there. So we have a look at minigunner. It cost me 60,000. That will allow me to convert any one of my marines on the battlefield into a minigunner for a cost during the battle. So once I've learned that technology here, I can make that upgrade at any time. Or for That's actually really quite expensive, huh? For 66,000, if I pay a little bit extra, I don't see, well, I guess you might want it. It will give you when you start the mission, you'll have one extra free upgrade. You will have that extra minigun ready to go at the start of the mission, so you can, if you're having trouble with the mission, if you need a little bit of extra firepower, you can actually spend some of your funds on actually giving yourself that little bit of a buff in the mission. Obviously, this is only going to work in campaign stuff. You're not going to be able to take, I don't think you can take that kind of stuff into skirmish. Skirmishes, I think pretty much seem to just give you all the upgrades. So this tech tree is mostly for your campaign. So if you're having if you're finding a mission that's a bit of a tough nut to crack, you're like, oh well, hey, I'll just take an extra sniper with me and an extra flamethrower with me, or an extra officer. You could buy a bunch of stuff. So the raid missions pay well. So if you wanted to pick up a few of those things, it wouldn't be terribly hard to get to. But it's like I say, there's more there if you're having trouble with that. Most of the upgrades are these ones in the center. They're actually genuinely really interesting. There's none of these really ever seem to be flat stat upgrades. They're always quite interesting upgrades. It's not like, oh, 10% more firepower. They're all really interesting upgrades, so there's a lot of cool stuff. So I will take a minigunner, because I don't have the minigunner yet, and it sounds very cool. And robotics sound like a very useful one to have as well, so I'll take both of those with me. So we'll have a look at, rather than going into the story mission, because there are perfectly valid missions here which have no bearing on the story, so I might as well not spoil any story. We'll just have a look at the grotto, I suppose. I imagine the content within the grotto would be very similar to one of the story missions, so let's have a look at it. Genetic markers indicate the creatures in the grotto are extremely adept at altering their abilities. Grotto is for seasoned soldiers only. Well, I don't know how seasoned I am, but let's have a go. Okay, here we are. The red arrow will indicate where our initial base is. All of these are alien bases. There are many, many of them, and they're going to start swarming my way in the very near future. In fact, they've already made a move. So I better get my guys. I start with 5 Marines, and that is pretty much going to be your squad. Let's put... I've got... press V to bring up the building menu. I want a turret. Probably want a turret there. That'll just keep the aliens at bay whilst I get myself established. We've got BP up in the corner is... I'm not sure what that stands for, whether it's build or battle or something of the sort. They are going to be our main currency for upgrading and building things. You can see if I want to add more Marines to my squad, it will cost me 4 BP at the minute, and I have 5 spare, so I can press M. That'll deploy me another Marine. So now I've got a squad of 6 Marines. None of them ever die. I mean, some of these are not looking too great as it is. Some of these Marines are going to die. They will appear right back at this base, right back at the start, if any of them die. So that rifleman's about to disappear. Yeah, 2 riflemen down. It's not a good start to this mission, but none of the resources ever really lost. You can be overwhelmed. These aliens could completely and totally swarm me and take over my last base, and I would lose. But my actual units in this particular mode are never actually lost. So I've got G, which uses my ammo, which is my other resource in the top left, and that allows me to fire a bunch of rocket launchers and stuff. That'll take out some of their structures, make it a little easy to kill. So these, if we look at these, got these little greeny blob kind of things. They're spawning all the mobs, and then these are kind of turrets around their base, which are going to deal damage to my guys and going to cause problems. And I think this structure over there seems to be buffing it somewhat, so maybe these guys would be worth taking out faster, but... if I can take out all the stuff that's spawning enemies, this whole thing will become a lot easier. The old guys don't ever seem to come back to you, unless you can set a rally point. You can press T, press S. I can set a rally point there. That costs 1 ammunition to set the rally point. All the moves in the game are going to cost either ammunition or BP. BP is normally your sort of permanent upgrades, your marines, your buildings, your structures and things. Ammo is just sort of a temporary thing. We've got this little lightning bolt. The T shortcut is, in fact, all of these toys on here are part of the expansion, as is my understanding. So I don't think with the vanilla game you can even rally your troops, which is not great. It seems like that's a fairly fundamental thing to be able to do in an RTS to me, but nonetheless, it is an expansion thing. So we've got, if I press X, I've got this, which is a cluster bomb, which kills most of the things that are swarming. It's a pretty nice ability, and honestly, I found myself using it a lot. I would say it's a little bit overpowered. There are some toys in this that seem to be pretty potent, but at the same time, it's not like the aliens don't get their own abilities as well. There are a few things that the aliens are going to start doing later on in the match that definitely give it a bit more of an edge against us as well. So it's not like I'm just throwing crazy toys at it. However, we have cleared the base out now. Can I get all my guys? They are all stood there. Doesn't look like they're all there, but if I stand on that, there you go, a little yellow bar will fill up, and that is our base now. This is ours. There's still some alien structures, and they're still spawning things, which could really stand to get rid of around our base, you know, but there you go. And I get a bunch of BP. I got 6 BP for capturing that. So now I need to try and hold this off. I mean, I've still got this turret here that's still going to do that, but now aliens are going to swarm probably from this base towards ours, as well as from these two on the left, so I have a feeling throwing another turret down about here would probably be a good move. All of your Marines act as workers as well. There is literally only one unit in this. It's a very simple RTS, mechanically speaking. There's one type of unit. You can then upgrade it into other things. So these are all our special units that we're looking at in the upgrade. So we can have an officer, which adds a buff to all our local units. Shotgunners are more powerful, really, versus a big crowd of aliens. We've got riflemen, your basic one, so you can convert them back if you want to restore some BP. BP's never really lost if things are destroyed or recycled. You always get your points back, so you can redeploy your units and buildings wherever you feel is most useful. For 7, I could convert one to a flamethrower. That's good against a crowd. Minigunner sounds like something I want to try out, but obviously I've only just bought that. And I've got a sniper is really effective against buildings. So if I had 8 points, that'd be a really good way to take out a bunch of these turrets. As it is, I can't do that, so I'm just gonna have to. We're gonna have to try and make try and crack this base. I think I have to take some of these turrets out. So I focus fire on the turrets. I might be able to start taking a little less damage from these bases. I don't think these guys are not gonna last terribly long. Units will respawn at the last base you captured. So if these guys die, they'll pop back into existence over here. I'll be able to regroup. Speaking of which, I should probably move my rally beacon here. Let's move the front lines up a bit. Let's see if we can take this out. We've got all the missiles, so let's throw some of those. It's a pretty good way to destroy the base as well, the missiles, but it will use a ton of your ammo up. Ammo can be picked up from these yellow boxes, actually, so if I send one of my guys in there, I would have a lot of ammo to throw at it. If you stood on a yellow box, the ammo restores really fast. It runs out of it. It runs out pretty quickly. So it's a good way to try and crack some of these bases, but in this particular instance, not worked terribly well. Although I feel like we've nearly got it. These guys want to come join me. They're not rallying very well, I will say. There we go, base down. So that one's mine. That one's going to stop spawning stuff. That's going to be less of a nuisance. There's a purple box over there that if I can take out the turrets that are surrounding it and drag it back to one of my bases, that will act as a source of BP as well. So if I want more points to build more things, I should be able to do that. So I want to try and capture this base. Have we got any guys? No, that's the one thing I find kind of visually confusing is the turrets don't from the top. The turrets don't look visually dissimilar to a lot of the Marines, really. There we go, captured that. All it took was a cluster bomb to take them out. So there we go. So now they're going to mutate. The more progress you make through a level, the tougher the aliens are going to become, which is again I think a part of the expansion. Where we've got extra toys, now the aliens do, so they've got mimicry. I'm not sure what mimicry means, but it doesn't sound fun. It sounds like they're going to be throwing our own toys against us to a certain extent. So, worth taking out this lot, I think. These ones are not really going to... I don't think these ones are really going to respawn. These are just kind of out in the field, so if I can clear this bit out. There we go. There we go. So this resource is now unguarded. However, a bunch of my guys have died. We regroup. If I send one of my guys to go grab that, he can go attach himself to that and tow it behind him and bring it back here. So I got 6 BP, which means I could put some upgrades on some stuff, and I probably should start thinking about doing that because there's a lot of things incoming. What I really need to do is clear out this base, and then I can focus on defending other stuff, I suppose. I'm just concerned about this base on the right, but I think the turret's going to mostly hold things off there. The turret seems to be holding its own at the minute. The base is, because I picked up an upgrade from the armory, it's one of the earliest upgrades you get in the game. It does put these little shielded bunkers over them. That does mean they'll live a little bit longer than they would otherwise. And it also means that any Marines that are within range... Let's tell you what, let's move my rally point here. Everybody wants to regroup here. Any Marines that are within range will also be healed. So there we go, that'll clear those guys out a bit. Let's try and stop them spawning. Take that out. Focus fire on that. Focus fire on that. Good if we could destroy that. I don't think that's happening. Let's just throw some ammo at that. I'll do some damage. More. No. That's nearly down. So as you can see, it's a fairly simple game. Honestly, there's not a lot of micromanaging loads and loads and loads of units for the most part. You're not going to be doing that. It's not some grand RTS which is going to see you moving hundreds and hundreds of units all over the place, doing lots of things. It's just these 5 guys, or in this case 6 guys. It varies a bit. Right, these guys need blowing up. That turret is not doing anything, so I press D. I can recycle that. Let's put another turret. Where do I want the other turret? Where would be a good place to put that? I feel like that good place to put that would actually be there. Apparently I missed something there. Everything just exploded into aliens. I'm not sure how that happened. So let's get this captured, because it's not mine yet. There we go. So now I've got 6 points. Which gives me 15 points to spend, I believe. That says, yeah. So I've got a new turret over here. It's going to get swarmed pretty quickly, actually, if I don't do something about it. So let's throw a cluster bomb down. So yeah, the ammunition, if you haven't spotted, regenerates slowly over time, but you can pick it up from the crates to speed things up. So I've got that one guarding this base over here. I've got this turret's kind of keeping it clear here, mostly. We've definitely got aliens coming in this way, so it might be worth... If those turrets are holding the fort here, it might be worth going down and clearing out these ones next. That's probably my next angle of attack. You can press space up to pause at any time, which is something I actually only discovered fairly recently, so you can stop and strategize a bit. You can then peruse things and start out a build plan. So I've got 15 points. I now need to think, well, do I want to upgrade some of my units? I could get a minigunner for that cost, although it's a pretty expensive unit. We can then go into the research tree. All the research has to be done in a building. You have to build a building and maintain that building in order for that research to be active, but then you got a bunch of extra things available to you. So ammo supply, so dead marines are going to drop ammunition, as well as give me 20 ammunition to work with rather than 10, so that's a pretty nice one to have. For 8 BP we can equip every one of my marines with grenades, which is actually really quite potent, and life support makes the marines much harder to kill. Got reinforcements, respawning marines get to the front a lot faster, they respawn faster, and new marines, once they're dropped on the front lines, fire 300% faster, but that costs a little bit of ammo every time you use it. Got robotics. Bunkers get a mini turret, bunkers gain shielding, and bunkers gain a long-range healing robot. That's the one I just bought, actually, isn't it? And I kind of would like to try that. So let's build that there. And I would also I do kind of like having the chopper strike, so let's throw that there. So again, that's going to take 2 of my marines out of the action for a moment while they go and build those. And say it's a single unit kind of job, so all the marines are your workers as well. That gives me access to the heli strike now, as well as the bunkers now. The bunkers are now going to defend themselves to a certain extent, and apparently they got healing, which is kind of nice to have. So if I got some ammunition, it'd probably be worth blowing that lot up. Let's see what we can do about that. They got a few bases. They got a bunch of resources here that are definitely going to be worth trying to gather. Jeez, they're really swarming here. Let's do that. That's a good way to get rid of a swarm. Let's take out the spawners as best we can. Send a guy to grab that. Have another guy grab that. Let's get these back to the base now. That'll give me another 6 points to spend. I don't need to be sending my other guys, to be fair. They can stay and hold the forts here. I think one of my guys is down. Yeah, one of my guys is definitely down. So these two, take it back to the bunker. These guys are going to get overwhelmed if I don't do something about that there, so let's do that. I've got my helicopter strike. My helicopter strike costs 10 ammo at first, but then that cost decreases the longer you leave it. So it basically has a cooldown that can be reduced by spending ammunition. So that's just going to do a ton of damage to... That's going to destroy... Well, it's not actually going to destroy them, but it's very good if you are besieging an enemy base. That's going to add some more firepower to it. You're going to be able to take stuff down easier. It really doesn't destroy much on its own, to be honest. And given that you only have a few units, you kind of usually only end up using one squad. It's mostly a one squad affair. Right, so once again, we've got a swarm that really needs destroying here. My heli strike is pretty much cooldown, so let's add that to the fight. There's not a long cooldown on it, to be fair. You can use it pretty frequently. If I wanted to just blow all my ammo, I could just use it again immediately afterwards as well. So there we go. This one was a lot easier to destroy, just on the basis that I had a helicopter for backup. Now, if I pause this, what I think I want to do... No, actually, I want one of those minigunners. I want to find out what the minigunner does. So we're gonna have to conquer this base, which means I'm gonna want to do a cluster bomb. Great. Let's capture that. Throw another cluster bomb down there. Right, I've got the points for that now, so I'm up to 14 points. That means they've now got a hive shell, which I presume means that all of their hives are armored now. I think they've got extra shields, which means that would be useful to have grenades for. The grenades are quite effective against the shields, but ultimately what I want is I want one of my squad to become a minigunner. So you can see this guy has now become a minigunner. He's got a personal shield. He's very good against buildings and shields, which I suppose makes up for the fact that I don't have grenades. But he does move a little slower than everyone else. So that guy should be making a mess of everything now. I'm kind of okay with this. I got those resources over there, but still some resources around here to gather. I think I haven't used that, so let's bring a helicopter in for a bit of backup. I'm not sure if the helicopter does friendly fire or not. Sometimes it looks like it does, but it's kind of hard to tell, really, to be honest. Either way, that's down. That's correct, that one. That minigun is actually a bit good. I'm liking the minigunner a lot. So, let's throw a cluster bomb over there. I'm not sure what they were destroying there, but something was in there that was making that difficult to capture, but I got it. So let's pause this. Let's have a look. They're now going to rust, which means the alien attacking my buildings are going to destroy my buildings more effectively. So I've got my turret there that's covering. It's not going. These guys are going to get in through here, I'm pretty sure. This is still holding that off pretty well over there. They're definitely going to be coming in from here because we're here now. I only got 7 points, so I still need to put a turret somewhere. VW puts a turret. I'm tempted to put one right here, actually. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of limits on where you can build things, so if you wanna start building structures deep in enemy territory, that's actually okay. I mean, I wouldn't put too many functional structures there. You'd probably lose them pretty quickly, but turrets can be pretty good. If you like, say, have your box of grenades in the middle of enemy territory, I don't know how well that would work out for you, but nonetheless. So if I remove all my marines up, let's try and keep this area fairly clear. Let's just clear the enemies out while the turret gets to work. Although it does look as though my turret got destroyed really quickly there. Wow, that's quite impressive. Let's try and have that back. Yeah, I guess the rust is pretty effective against my stuff. Did any of the aliens get through? No, they actually didn't. The other turret actually must have made pretty short work of them. So I'm feeling fairly confident we can keep this here now. That turret's going to do its thing. I'm going to throw down some of these. Got another helicopter strike. Can I send one of these guys to go collect that? I want the resources. I don't know how many units I've got. Where are all my... It sometimes seems to be a little tricky to find your guys. Yeah, for some reason I've got 3 guys up there. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember sending them there. Maybe I did. For some reason I did. The aliens are blue and my guys are blue, and then the turrets look a lot like my guys. There's a lot of visual confusion going on with the units. I keep finding myself losing all of my guys pretty frequently, and I'm like, where are they all? So how many points do I have there? Is that just the 3? When I'm recording, my actual frame rate counter's over the top of that, so it's actually a little difficult for me to see that one. That's not of any fault of the game, though. Oh yeah, I've got a few points to spend there. Cool. So my guys are now going to be shotgunners. They are going to make a mess of aliens now. The shotguns cut through crowds of aliens like nobody's business. So I've got this shielded one here. I've got 10 ammo, so let's throw some rockets at the shielded base. The Mimic Egg clones nearby Marines. That must be the clone ability they picked up earlier. I feel like we've pretty much got this bit, haven't we? Throw down more of that. There we go. Capture reward, 6 more points. Let's see, what can we have? Do I have any more riflemen? I still have another rifleman. I can't afford a flamethrower. Could have an officer though. Officer will inspire my guys to fire faster and be more deadly. Another helicopter strike. And I've got the ammunition to throw down another cluster bomb, which is needed because, geez, that is a lot of aliens. Let me get all my guys. I don't know how many guys all of my guys are. Doesn't seem to be many. My guys don't seem to be too healthy at the minute. We'll claim the top base, I guess. Did the turret claim the top base? Because I didn't actively make any attack to kill that. That's kind of interesting. Oh well. Okay, so now they're going to spawn brutes. There are a lot of mutations. The more alien bases you kill, the worse they get. Where are all of my guys? Oh, I'll tell you why they're up there, because I completely forgot to move the rally point like ages ago. That was the last place I set a rally point. That would probably do it. Yeah, okay. That is just my incompetence. I'm not the world's greatest RTS player. I'm not the world's greatest at many things, to be honest, but nonetheless. I am here to have fun, not to be good at it. Let's throw that down. I've got another heli strike, because it's on some ridiculously short cooldown. The bases now have their own turrets, so I guess the bases are actually going to help in this fight, to be fair. The bases are going to defend themselves to a certain extent. Let's throw some ammunition at that. Where are my other Marines? Are they still they are still loitering around for some reason, in spite of the fact that I'm quite sure I told them to come over here a long time ago. It's not helpful, really. I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong or what, but it seems like sometimes the Marines just straight up ignore my commands. It might be my not doing something right. I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether the fault of that lies at the game or me, to be honest. If I'm honest. Got another helicopter strike. It's all good. Although I think it's pretty much dead, but I won't say no to a little extra help. That should finish things off. And then we can stand here. Yeah, okay, no, I don't seem to take friendly fire there, so that's good. Okay, so alien swarm's now coming in from this direction. It's the only base left. This turret's really not going to be much use to me, so we'll get the points back from that. This turret could probably stand to be better placed. I would say if I'm going to attack this way, to be fair, I might not even need another turret. There's no other resources to gather, I don't think. I've gathered all the resources. I think I'm about as good as we're going to get on this map. So let me take the crew. Can we get a sniper in the crew? Do I have any riflemen? Yes, I've got a sniper. He's going to take out buildings more effectively. Officer's going to inspire everyone else. Still got the shotgunner. I don't know what happened to my minigunner. What happened to my minigunner? Can we get a minigunner? I've got a minigunner now. Alright, let's do this. Let's take down the aliens. Yeah, see, combination of shotguns and everything else. I'm making a bit of a mess of them at this point. Onwards. Through here. It's not really going to be a big deal. They don't have too much to spawn with there either, by the looks of things. It's mostly just turrets, so let's throw that down there. Can I? Oh, I didn't have enough ammo. Now we do. There we go. That's got it. Let's take out the building. So I got my sniper. I mean, honestly, I should just have my guys doing that. So I'll just take my sniper and have him target the buildings. He can mostly one-shot a lot of the buildings. And just have the sniper. If I just tell him what to target, he can just pick out all the turrets for me. Maybe? Yeah, there we go. He's pretty good at that. That is his job. Although my guys seem to be dying pretty heavily. Let's throw down a turret. Not turret. Helicopter strike. We shall also move the rally points here. Where are my guys? Where have they respawned? I would have thought they would have respawned down there. I don't think they've respawned yet, actually, to be fair. So my sniper's having a hard time keeping these things down, actually. It's respawning things pretty quickly. He's kind of on his own now. I could use a little backup. Okay, well, let's throw that down. I need more ammunition. I should have taken that ammo upgrade early on, but never mind. Indeed, my base is actually under attack over here. That's quite impressive. I don't know that I need to rebuild that right now, actually. If we can take this out. That's grenades. Grenades are always good. I'm not sure what this is in the middle. Spawn spitter towers, right? So this is just gonna cause me problems. So really, I need to be taking this out. Let's just throw all our ammo at that. See if we can take that out. That's just a nasty upgrade of the enemies. Let's move him over here. He should be able to take that out reasonably effectively. Yeah, it's going down pretty quickly now. That's good. Because it's the last enemy base, basically all of their resources, so it seems like they have roughly similar mechanics to mine. They're going to have all their resources are going to be back there now, so they're just going to be throwing everything at it out of that one base now. So how many points do I have? I've still got some points to spend, which is because those turrets have died, isn't it? Let's put. I seem to have lost that turret. If you don't build it in good time, it does seem to go away. So I put one there. I should be able to attack things pretty well. Let's have a turret there. Where are the rest of my Marines? They should have all rallied here. I don't think they'd want to rally there though. They build like a weird webbing wall there, which is just horrifying. Yeah, this is just all the some of the strongest stuff now. I'm gonna have to put Heli Strike in there. Let's move them up, move them up. I'm not sure how well this game works without the abilities, because I do rely on that. I would rely on that grenade ability like ridiculously. I throw these grenades down so freaking often, the cluster bombs, that I'm not actually sure how you would play the game without having access to them. It feels like I'm so reliant on them as a mechanic. But I guess if I didn't buy that, I would just have other mechanics. I would probably have given my guys, and indeed I still could give my guys. Let's build out there. You go build some grenades. There we go. Now my guys are going to have grenades at their disposal. And because you can recycle these things anytime, you can change up your strategy on the fly. So now all my guys are going to have grenades, which is going to be rather nice to take out these guys. And these guys are not going to get destroyed by the turret, but I don't think they're going to get there in time before my team takes out this base. Throw more cluster bombs down, because why not? And there we go. We've pretty much got that base. We can capture it. I think that's ours. Mission 1! Woo! That was kind of a long, slow mission. It took me a while to get through that, but there you go. Yeah, there's a few stats at the end. Shows you how many points you used to buy things with, how many guys you lost. Killed 30,000 aliens with only 24,000 bullets, which is actually quite impressive. There you go. So continue, and you get a lot of money, as I say, with these sort of side missions. They does seem to be quite generous in the payout, so 60,000. I could buy some interesting new things. We've got shield emitters. Is there anything new we've gathered? Got siege cannons. Oh, teleport. Teleporter? Yeah, that's definitely a new upgrade. As you buy things, it does seem to add more. I thought it was mostly tied to the story, but no, there's new stuff again. Engineering. Builds the engineering tech station, allows structures to build themselves. So that's really kind of cool. I'm not sure I would want to use BP on having that as a functionality, but it would save you sending Marines back to work as workers. But it uses 2 ammos to finish the building. But 2 ammo's not a big deal. That's interesting. So, dead Marines are replaced with AI backup. Yeah, there's some very, very interesting upgrades that you can get in this. I like the tech tree in this. It's got a very interesting one. So most of the missions play out in a very, very similar fashion, to be fair. The raid missions, these side ones, like I say, it's more about how many things can you kill in the time frame. There's less emphasis on building and upgrading so much as just destroying the enemy as fast and effectively as possible. The story missions, obviously, there's a bit of variety. There's some with big boss sections, others are... It varies a bit, but there's a few different types. These ones are pretty much... Most of the missions play out very similar to these missions, like the one I've just did. If we go back, we can have a look at Skirmish. You can see you kind of got different ones based on the different styles of the different maps. Was it the Grotto, I think, was the one we just did there, so you get a map in that kind of style. And then you've got Iron Man. Iron Man, I believe, is like it's kind of like a hardcore mode. When things die, you don't get them back, they don't come back to life, and you only get half the points refunded. So it's kind of a war of attrition kind of thing, really. You kind of, eventually you're going to run out of resources, and you will die, so yeah, it's a bit more hardcore. In custom mode, you can then kind of design the maps to your preferences as well. So if you want to go in and play loads and loads of stuff, you can choose what style of map you want. You can choose how big you want the map to be, what features it would have, how many enemy hives, the enemy flow and defensive power, different things that they have available to them. You can customize it very, very detailed, and it'll just create a random map based on the settings that you've offered up there. So you say, this is exactly what the stuff I want on the map. This is to my specifications, and it'll generate a random map based on those specifications. So there's a lot of replayability in there if you really want to get stuck into this kind of thing. If this is the kind of content that you really like replaying over and over again, there's a lot of it in there. However, I don't know. I feel like the content It does play out very, very similarly each time. There's definitely a lot of flexibility in the upgrades, so you can definitely mix up styles and try approaching things differently, but ultimately, it's still just, you have a very small squad of Marines, and you need to go clear out enemy hives. It plays out very, very much the same each time. So there is a possibility you might find it getting stale fairly quickly, but I've sunk a few hours into this so far, and I'm still kind of enjoying it. I don't know that I would want to play it for ages and ages and ages, but so far, still kind of enjoying it. Like I say, it's getting a little bit samey, but occasionally you just get new toys like, oh hey, now we've got minigunners, got a slightly different way to approach this level, that's kind of cool, and I like that, but I don't know how long that would last. But there you go, that's a quick look at Infested Planet. As I say, it's for an RTS, I'm a little bit surprised there is no PvP mode. I don't know, maybe the aliens would be too difficult to control, it's a little bit more automated. I mean, it's talking about swarms of things. I think it would be very interesting to see an actual PvP mode where you could actually play against other players, because, I don't know, I feel like with RTSs that's kind of something you'd kind of expect. But no, so it's mostly just PvE stuff. So you got the challenges, you got your campaign mode, and you can set up skirmish matches. So if you really like a PvE RTS type stuff, then there's plenty of content in there to keep you going if you really want to sink your teeth into it. There you go. That's Infested Planet. I kind of like it. That is available. It's out now on Steam. As I say, you got the base game is £10.99 your regional equivalent, and you've got the new expansion which adds all that new menu of weapons and new mutations for the aliens. And it says an improved campaign, but I don't know what's different about the campaign, so I really couldn't tell you what's changed there. That DLC will set you back £3.99, or if you want to buy them both together, they do a deluxe edition for £13.59, which will save you a little bit of money. So that's out now for Windows and Mac, available on Steam, and there'll be a link in the description below if you want to check that out. So thank you very much for watching. I have been Meroka, this has been Infested Planet, and I shall see you next time.